a bucket down here, saturating of plaster. And what I've been doing is, you see how this is curved in here, all right? The same thing on both sides of the mask. This is where the ear is. The face is over here, and that's thick enough. This is the back of the head. So I'm going to do the back of the head next and really close that in and make it nice and thick on the back of the head. I thickened up the sides because they literally were only like that thick, maybe a half inch to a quarter inch. And what's nice about Ultra Cal 30 is, even though that this was made last night. Oh, by the way, this is the big mold. This is the one from the I demolded the come on, the urethane masker. I demolded that from that, and it's empty, and the mold turned out perfect. So it's really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken up the shallow areas, because you need that. You needed it to be at least that thick. You know, inch and a half to 2 inches thick, because it's going to absorb moisture. And if it doesn't have enough plaster, it runs out of saturate. It won't be able to saturate the water out of the latex. You need to make sure your walls are at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. And not only that, it makes it stronger, but it's heavier. So there's pluses and minuses to everything. I'm still waiting for this to saturate, but meanwhile, I'm going to flip this sucker. This is nice and hard. I did this one area at a time. Let it harden up. Yeah, it's a lot thicker and heavier. Okay, so what do I want to do here? That'll do it right there. Now I'll fill that in real good, even up to the back of this ear with this mud. Now I made it thick. I'm making this thick, that's why it's taking longer to saturate. I still got one white spot right in the middle. You can see it right there. And the rest is saturated. So, and it cracks like a lake bed. That's when you know it's ready. Remember this. Always sift, like I have a little bucket, little tiny bucket of that I use for sifting. I put water in here first. No matter how much the water is, no matter how much water you put in there, you just bring that up to saturation. In other words, you want to bring it up to the surface. And when it creates little islands all on the top, you are basically level with the water. And then what happens is you just let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, let it saturate. And when you see the lake bed cracking, your plaster is ready for mixing by hand. Make sure you do it by hand, because you want to grab all those little clumps of plaster, and make sure there's no lumps or dry white stuff. One of the biggest reasons why you let that saturate is because that eliminates all the little white powdery balls of plaster that might be in the water. So I'm going to mix this real quick, and I'm just going to slap it on with my hand. And just like I did on the side, looked really nice too. It's nice and thick, smoothed out. It's going to get rid of all these ripples and everything. Gravity is not your friend when you're doing the mask vertically. When you lay the mask down, you can really pile it on. I'm sitting over here in my chair. Well, this is a little too thick. I might have to add a little water to this. And we'll see. I want it thick anyway. It'll cure faster. This is almost like a very thick peanut butter. Very thick. There's nothing running on this at all. I'll show you in a minute. I'm gonna come over there as soon as I make sure this is all mixed good. Yeah, this is saturated perfectly. That's the thing, I won't have any lumps as long as it's completely saturated. You don't get the lumps. Yeah, I made the perfect amount. The more you work with this plaster, the better you're going to get. Better results. Look how thick that is. It's literally really thick. And we're just going to pile it in right here. Yeah, it's almost like concrete the way I've got it on this. I got to make sure up in this area is thick. Now I'll smooth that out with my hand. So it's better that it isn't runny because now I can really pile it into even when gravity's not my friend here on the side of the head. Used it all. Gotta love that. Now I still got plenty of time for curing there. Now this base is pretty thick. Now what I'll do is I'll wait for this to get a little, cure a little bit, and I'll come back and I'll smooth it out with my hand. And push it in better. Really push it in. See, wherever the lowest spot is, you see how it gets a little wet and moisture? That's because the moisture's it's trying to release. The moisture always goes to the lowest spot. Okay, let me clean my hands. Now I'm going to clean this bucket. Batch, but I have to wait because I'm rotating this. I'm rotating this thing around and around just to make sure that the neckline is not thin. We can't have that. All right. Just spinning the bucket into dirty water in a 5-gallon bucket. Okay. I can't do nothing else until I ready for the next batch. So there's another project I'm working on too, and I'll show you that in a second. Just trying to make it nice and even. Don't mind my gut. I know I got plenty up top. Gravity wasn't working against me on the top of the head. I'm getting skinnier, guys. I'm telling you, I'm feeling better. Every day gets better and better. It's unbelievable. The energy level's nice. You know? I'm able to do things. I'm able to keep moving with my projects. I'm also was working on music while I was waiting for the cure. Today's a little slow. It's kind of tedious because I'm trying to make these molds really last a long time. Making them nice and thick. Now I'll smooth that out just as it dries a little bit more. And let me show you what I got in the mail. I'm not too happy. We got the dirt bikers out today. I've got nothing but trails behind my house. Okay, so you don't need to sit and stare at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'll just leave it on here for a minute. Hold on a second. Let me see what you're saying here, guys. Anything? Say hello. All right. You know what? I'll leave it in for a second. I'll leave it in there. And I'll show you. This was literally 3 pounds. I don't know. It might be 1 pound. But this is mohair. And it's supposedly washed one time. It still smells like shit. And the other thing I'm not happy about is the fibers aren't long enough. So I've got a pot of water boiling with some soap, some Dove soap, and a little bit of hair. Natural hair, because this is natural sheep hair right here. That's what that is. Mohair is sheep hair. It's got a little nice shine to it. And I got a big pot of water boiling in there. As soon as it's boiling, I'm going to bring it out here and then put this hair inside of it. And it's a pretty big bag. It's not real big, but it's a little over a pound, I think. Might be 3 pounds. No, this is a pound. Yeah, that's right. This is the one that I ordered that was a pound. And this is called raw mohair. It stinks. If you're going to treat this stuff, you want to make sure you're outside. I think the lanolin has been released that's in the hair. There's lanolin. If you don't know what lanolin is, it's used in skin softening products. It's used in soaps. And the sheep actually create it naturally. And the key is we have to release the lanolin from this hair, because that's what the dirt clings to. It doesn't actually cling to the sheep hair, the mohair. It clings to the lanolin. And as soon as that is melted and it rises to the top, this will get whiter and whiter with like 2 or 3 washes, and I should have pure white, lanolin-free, dirt-free, shit-free hair. Right now, it literally smells like shit. So, not fun, guys, but it's the cheapest way to go. The one thing I'm a little upset with, the few pieces that I have pulled out of this so far, is I don't want to handle it too much until it's cleaned. The fibers aren't long enough. It looks like I'm supposed to get 5 to 6 inch lengths, and it looks like there's only 2-inch lengths in here. So I'll be calling that company up real quick. But let me go check in the house real quick. Bear with me. I'm not going to drag you in there. I just want to make sure the water's boiling. If it's boiling, I can bring it out here. Okay, it's steaming, but it's not boiling yet. So we got a few minutes before I can do anything. So come over here and take a look at this thing and see if I can smooth it out a little bit better. It really sets up really good and fast. You see how the moisture already evaporated. This hardens, it won't come off. I'm going to try and get at least 30 pulls out of this. Depends on how, the only detail that I have in this sculpture is the logo in the back of the head, which is buried under hair anyway, so you don't really see it. It's there to make sure that my stuff's not being copied. You know, foam filled and then remastered and sold. I just want you guys to know that my company is under an LLC, so I am protected and everything's copyrighted as far as my company goes. This is already copyrighted by the people that own Michael Myers, so that's not really the issue here. The issue is, ooh, what is that? Hold on. Ooh, good thing I saw that. A little piece of this plaster ended up right on the inner wall of this mold. So I'll let that go a few more minutes. That's a nice 2 inches thick. That's nice and thick right on the back of the head. Perfect. Now I got one side left to do, and that's the side that's closest to you guys. The other side's already done, and it's pretty smooth. I just want to make sure that this hardens up pretty good before I rotate it, because if I try to, and I still got the other mask to do. You know, and that now I'll be ready to start making masks. I can't wait. I can't wait. I filled in a few of the little tiny little holes that were in the mold, little air bubbles that were in the mold. You're never going to get it perfect. You're never going to get it perfect. Here's the thing. In other words, a hole that's sitting in. It's okay to have an innie. If you're looking at the mold, if you're looking at the mold and there's a hole in it, that's perfect because that'll stick out on the mask. But if you have something sticking up, protruding from the inner wall and to the inside, that becomes innie on the mask itself, and it's very difficult to fill. Latex will fill it, but sometimes the latex, if you get it where it's a little too cured, the latex won't grab to itself. It'll easily peel off. And when you're trying to sand that down, you know, so you always want to fill the little holes as best you can. You don't have to have it perfect as long as you can sand out the natural you only have an eighth of an inch thick, and if the bubble is too deep, you end up cutting a hole in the mask if the bubble's too deep. So, and that's why I always try to shave down any kind of bubbles or anything, you know. Now, let me just show you, for instance, and I'll see what you guys are doing on the phone here. I can talk to you. Okay. All right, here's the master copy that I pulled out. You see these holes? All right, they become on the inner wall. They actually become little bumps on the inner wall. Now, if this was protruding out on the mask, that would be a nightmare for us because that would reverse the situation. Now you would have, instead of a hole like this, have a bump like that, or better yet, here. That's from having a hole, just like that. There's a hole, and then when you pour the latex, that's what that hole becomes, which is okay because you can sand that off. But if you reverse that process and you have a bump out here on this, you know, then this becomes concaved. In other words, it's in, and you can't. It's harder to repair. See how this one here? There was a bump on the ear. Obviously, it might be. No, you know what? This isn't from that pull. I'm sorry. This is from the other master copy. This is from the latex. So there was a bump on that ear, and now we have just the opposite. So I can put a little bit of latex in there and just lightly sand that down. No, there's no lightning. I got to sand this down anyway because it's rough. So that's basically it. Now this is my brother's mask, and I'm letting it cure outside here in the air. It'll cure up a little quicker as long as the sun's not directly out. That's the master I just pulled out of that right there, which I'm letting harden up, which I'm getting ready to go do another rub on the head just to make it nice and smooth. And it'll make it a heavier mold, that's for sure. What's up, Steve from the UK? My sound keeps breaking up. I don't know why. I don't know why. I got to find out what's going on because I've been having issues out here on this deck, and I never used to have issues. So, nice. Yo. Yeah, I'm having issues with connections here. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's saying the sound breaks up, and the videos are freezing up. I don't know what's going on, but I never had problems before, and all of a sudden I'm having problems. Yesterday it did, and today it's doing it. Now I have to call my son back up and have him come out here. Have him come down. So anyway, yeah, so basically is it any better, Steve? Now I do have a lot of noise around me. That might be like muting things. You know, between the traffic, it's Sunday, everybody's heading home. Dirt bikers are out on the trails. My air compressor is still connected, so that's liable to jump up and make some noise in a few minutes. Let me rub this head down real quick with my hand, just to get it smooth, just to smooth it out. Oh yeah, I won't have to do any more after this. Yeah, that cured up nice and fast. Just don't want any sharp edges. Sharp edges are a nightmare because what happens is when you're handling this all the time, you know, your hands, it's rough, and you don't want to cut yourself on something because you're also talking about something that's pretty heavy. This is my bucket. That's my clean water, and that's my dirty water. Constantly wash my hands in my dirty water. Never wash your plaster out. You won't have pipes very long to do that. Plaster will stick to the pipes, and you will have serious plumbing issues. Whenever I'm done with this, I have a concrete driveway, so it's perfect. I can smash it up and just drop it into the driveway. And there's just a little bit of a, see right on the bottom, you can see the shadow just a little bit right here. It's all plaster. So I'll break that out of there. Nope, still doing it, he says. You know what? You might want to try and disconnect and reconnect, Steve. See if it works. See if that works. If that's not the problem, then I'm probably going to hit the reset button. So let me know, because I can't have videos doing this, especially when I'm doing live. Not having that. Pay a lot of money for this. have 1 gig up and 1 gig down. So I'm gonna check my phone to see if that's set up on the Hickman thing. But I'm gonna do the other side, and this evening. Okay. All right. That means I've got to check something on my phone. And if it's not my phone, it's my service. And I want my service fixed. I don't appreciate this. I spend a lot of money for my internet. A lot of money. I have a full gig up and a full gig down. And I shouldn't have any problems. But if I'm hooked up to the Wi-Fi, that would be an issue on my phone. I should have direct hook up to my internet for my phone. So we'll see. Let me check it out and see what's going on. Alrighty, I'll see you. Let me bounce off of here so I can fix this. I want to see if this problem will go away. I think that's probably why people yesterday and today, they come on and then they jump off because it's freezing up or whatever. So, all right, I'm going to jump off.